Recently, BlackRock shared another shocking analysis that will rock the crypto world. Now, many of you already know, but BlackRock is the world's largest asset manager with about $10.5 trillion in assets under management. That's power. And it's not just the money they have access to that's so impressive, but rather the amount of data they can collect from their AI and client feedback. And what they recently shared is not only groundbreaking, but a true confirmation that people in crypto like you and I got it right, and also that you're still early. So if you haven't been loading up on your XRP bags, now may be the time to start positioning yourself. Now, that said, with an obvious disclaimer, just because you should doesn't always mean things work out in markets. At the end of the day, you have to make your own educated decisions. However, in this video, we'll be covering the shocking news from BlackRock. We'll be sharing some interesting observations they made that confirm and reinforce what Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse said for the end of the year. I'll also be sharing what Vanguard, the world's second largest asset manager, recently published, and how all of the big players are moving in the same direction as demand for crypto continues to increase. And of course, I'll tie this all back into XRP and how it will impact your crypto portfolio. So if you're feeling blessed and bullish, comment 777. And if you're going to be the wealthiest person in your family tree, smash the subscribe button. Hello and welcome back to the Bull Runners YouTube channel. My name is Paul, and really quickly, I'm going to start out with an analysis of Bitcoin. And the reason I always dive into Bitcoin a bit is because it is kind of like the mothership in the entire crypto market. The entire crypto market is relatively pegged to what happens with Bitcoin. If Bitcoin is really experiencing some major volatility or a sell-off, then that creates general market weakness for other players like XRP. So yes, XRP is relatively correlated. Now, they have not been totally correlated all the time, but just to be clear, if Bitcoin's going to dump something like this right here back in August, okay, chances are XRP is as well. As of recently, XRP has been relatively strong to Bitcoin, but in the past, up until like July of this year, it was relatively weak. That said, they both are pretty correlated. And really what I'm focusing on right here is these major highs. We are still currently in a local downtrend, and it's been happening since March. That said, we are in a long-term uptrend, and we are consistently getting support right here at the $53,000 level. And we failed to break into this downtrend range right here for about a $67,000 price. That's what I would like to see. If we're going to see a breakout in the general crypto market, this would create for a very positive or a bullish environment for something like XRP. And so from a daily time frame, I am pretty bullish, and I do believe we're going to start to reach the $66,000 to $67,000 level, considering we got a decent amount of wicks right down here on the dailies, and then we had a very long, strong wick right here. Even though it turned into a red candle, the candle actually failed to break below the previous green candle. So that said, this is an inside candle and a very long, strong wick to the upside, which indicates that buyers are really starting to buy above the range of $63,000, even with a bit of sell pressure. And even with this daily follow through, we are failing to break below the $61,000 level. So even if we came down to like, let's say $60,900, wouldn't really worry me too much. As long as we don't get a major low below $59,800, I think the market's going to continue rallying up. And that's only confirmed by a few different key indicators. Right here, I have a post from a guy by the name of Axel. The UTXO supply in loss has approached 20%. Now, this is a lot of technical jargon, on-chain analysis type stuff, but we'll just break it down for you very simply, which could suggest that a significant portion of the supply is held by confident holders, while the remaining portion represents those at a loss. Now, this is the most important thing. In previous cycles, similar conditions were sometimes followed by a price rally, and he shows you at these major points right here. Well, we're currently at about 18.9%. We're getting to that point where, I mean, when you really look at this trend long term, I mean, we're consistently driving the price up and into new all-time highs. So even though we've been experiencing an intermediate term downtrend, long term we are still in a very major uptrend, and it looks like we're getting a lot of support at the $53,000 range, where there's been a lot of capitulation among the weaker holders, and so the stronger holders are continuing to hold as supply continues to be eaten up by major ETFs and players like BlackRock. Then another interesting suggestive type thing, when you start to look at the futures market and the liquidation zones, typically I found this to be pretty accurate, okay? Again, it might look a little bit confusing or crazy, but if I just remove Binance OKX Bybit, you start to see these two major lines. Here, this red line is the price of Bitcoin currently. The right-hand side is short liquidation leverage, and the left-hand side is long liquidation leverage. So let me just refresh that real quick. We'll get rid of these guys. And really what I'm after is seeing to the left how many longs would be liquidated and at what price. Okay, in other words, people are long at the current price of $62,000. They believe the price is going to go up. On the right-hand side, the green, line in Cliff indicates that these are people that are short from the current price and believe the price is going to go down. What I'm really after is seeing how big these tables are. And you can see that we have about $5.86 billion of leverage on the long side. And then on the short side, we have only $2.91 billion of leverage, which indicates that the majority of folks are currently long. And typically it is kind of like a tidal wave. Now, anything can happen. Any one major player or quant can come in and just, find a way to kind of spoof order books or create a lot of demand or, buy with $1 billion and bam, it changes everything. A lot of people are liquidated, and that's usually what happens. But more often than not, in situations where we're not seeing a lot of volatility, it's typically the guys with more leverage that win. Right now, it seems that I would rather be long than short, and we just indicated that in two different ways, on the chart and with the UTXO count. So both of these things are very positive for XRP and Ripple. Now for the major news surrounding BlackRock, as the $10 trillion asset manager says crypto is being adopted faster than the internet and mobile phones. And that's very exciting when you consider just how revolutionary both of those technologies were. When we talk about Web 1.0, that truly was the internet, everything surrounding the internet. Web 2.0 was basically the advent of the internet in a mobile manner through your phone. And then companies like Facebook capitalized on that and built their own ecosystems around it. Same with Apple. That would be Web 2.0. Well, guess what? We are officially in the world of blockchain and Web 3.0, and BlackRock now has the data to prove it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a video from a gentleman by the name of Jay Jacobs, who's really kind of the top dog surrounding crypto over at BlackRock. And here was a speech that he recently made in Brazil. And then I'll explain why it's so freaking important what he shared.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is such an incredible event. First, I wanted to thank Mercado Bitcoin for inviting me to speak today as well.
Now, really quickly, before we continue with that video, I want to make a statement of the fact that Ripple itself is partnered with Mercado Bitcoin. So it seems now that there's a close relation and a tie, and it's probably something that is on BlackRock's radar, being that it's one of the top cryptos by market cap. It's had a lot of news, and the fact that Ripple is now the first end-to-end payments solution for Mercado Bitcoin in Brazil, which is the largest exchange in Brazil and I believe South America. And here BlackRock is speaking at that same event.
Bitcoin for inviting me to speak today, as well as thanking all of you for coming to learn and to discuss Bitcoin and digital assets more broadly. This is still such an early time in this industry, and as I'll talk about a little bit more in our presentation, for many investors in the United States and around the world, we're still just at the starting point for digital assets. We've still just started to make these assets more accessible to more investors and more portfolios around the world. So for many of you here, I know your journey maybe started many years ago for digital assets, but recognizing that the larger world outside, we're still in day one for many investors. As the head of thematic investing at BlackRock, I really spend a lot of my time thinking about the future and some of the disruptive changes that are impacting the world and society and the economy and our portfolios around us. Oftentimes, this is about disruptive technologies. Oftentimes, it's about societal changes. But what we found with blockchain and digital assets is that in some ways, this is one of the fastest growing technologies we've seen in the last few years. On the right-hand side of the chart, you can see our adoption curve. This is just looking at how quickly certain assets are adopted by a society. And you can see that blockchain and digital assets are being adopted faster than major revolutions before it. whether that's the internet or whether that's cell phones. And there's a couple of reasons for this. The first reason is just we're living in a more digital economy than ever before. If we're consuming things online, streaming videos, playing video games, buying digital content, it makes sense to have digitally native assets to conduct those transactions, particularly when there's, secondly, and importantly, in a year like this year, where over half the world's population is voting for new leadership, not just the elections in the United States, in Mexico, in India, and the European Union, we're seeing more geopolitical risk than before, and in fact, declining trust in institutions, whether that's trust in government institutions for maintaining peace and order, whether that's trust in central banks in terms of keeping inflation under control. More distrust has exacerbated the need for a global monetary alternative. The third we're seeing is demographic changes, the rise of the millennial and Gen Z generation. Millennials, at least in the United States, are set to inherit trillions of dollars, are entering peak earnings years in their work, and are increasingly playing an important role in the economy. And millennials are very different from previous generations because we, were the first generation to be digitally native, growing up with the internet, growing up with computers. We understand digital better than previous generations, and that means we're more likely to adopt digital currencies. And then finally, what I think has been really important to BlackRock in our journey in the digital asset space has been the maturing of infrastructure in digital assets. We've seen billions of dollars move in venture capital and private equity into digital assets to fund incredible innovation in blockchain. We've seen the regulatory environment evolve to get more constructive around digital assets and how people can buy them. We've seen extremely talented people leave traditional finance to go into DeFi to help lead some of these innovations. And all of this infrastructure has really matured over the last 5 years. So between all of these tailwinds, it's really creating the opportunity for digital assets to gain broader adoption across more investors around the world.
And I think at each of those key points, it's extremely important to remember that they are all now tailwinds. We no longer have all of the major issues, considering major players and institutions are adopting blockchain and crypto. And it's not just proven by them, but it's also proven by the amount of users, or people like me and you, which is actually growing faster, which is proven by this yellow line. The blue line is the mobile phones, and the green line is the internet. So when we talk about the entire economy moving into a digital space, that's a given. It's proven. The fact that we have declining trust across the board, whether it's governments or inflation or whatever. I mean, the majority of baby boomers are going to start to pass away over the next decade or two, and a lot of that wealth is going to be adopted by millennials. Well, guess who's buying crypto assets en masse? It's millennials and Gen Z. And then finally, he does make the good point that we have a lot of maturing infrastructure. So the infrastructure has consistently improved over the last 5 years in crypto, and that opens up a realm and a world of possibilities for companies like XRP and Ripple to provide solutions and infrastructure. And one of those solutions being exactly for Mercado Bitcoin as an end-to-end payment solution. So you're already seeing it live from the event that he shares this at. Now, without spending too much more time on this point, and arguably that person, Jay, he's a very knowledgeable person who has access to everything over at BlackRock as the head of crypto over there. That said, he sees the Bitcoin market at a $5.4 trillion in the coming years. Now, if Bitcoin is at $5.4 trillion, that's going to, again, a rising tide raises all ships. You have to understand, it is not Bitcoin versus XRP or Ripple. It's Bitcoin and everything else. And so this is going to only help solidify the entire crypto space or industry as a whole into a giant in finance and infrastructure. That said, he does predict that. And what's so interesting is that even the Ripple CEO, Brad Garlinghouse, predicted that it would reach $5 trillion. The CEO of blockchain startup Ripple sees the combined market capitalization of the cryptocurrency market topping $5 trillion this year. Now, that might not happen by the end of the year. We'd have to see everything double in price, but we've seen crazier things in the past. Still, I believe that both of these people are right. Jay Jacobs and Brad Garlinghouse see the crypto market continuing to grow. And so I would believe at any moment moment in time you start to see prices falling or declining, or a bit of fear, which creates a sell-off. When you have predictions like this from people that are very knowledgeable, that are constantly in the right rooms, that are constantly building out the technology, that have access to some of the best information, the smartest minds, and they are saying that things are going to reach $5+ trillion, maybe we should listen. Maybe we should be deploying capital in the markets and stop buying into fear. Now, that said, this is really exciting stuff because it's all just a confirmation of what crypto investors probably already believe. But if you didn't fully believe it yet, I think now's a great time to accumulate, as even a company like Vanguard has made some interesting points that we're about to share right now. Vanguard is the second largest asset manager in the world. And in this article from Barron's, they basically say they want to shake up investing again. Now, when we think about shaking up investing, many people in the crypto community believe, okay, that's only crypto, right? Crypto is like this new asset class. It's amazing. Well, when we look at a company like JP Morgan, which is a major bank, they even stated back in May that the bank said cryptocurrencies had surpassed real estate as its favored alternative asset class. Alternative assets also mean investments that do not fit into conventional categories like stocks and bonds. Well, Vanguard now wants to shake things up as well. And one of the cool things that they just shared is the fact that ETFs are today's vehicle of choice for investors and asset managers. Well, if you don't remember, we've been talking a lot about ETFs for XRP in the upcoming year, which we think is very likely to happen, as we recently saw another ETF filing, and that came from Canary Capital, which filed an S1 for an XRP ETF with the SEC as of today. But Vanguard also shared that ETFs are gaining in popularity over mutual funds because they trade intraday, have tax advantages, and are more transparent. When we think about transparency, that's the future of globalization when it comes to finance and technology. Devereaux says Vanguard is responding to investor demand and going where opportunities lie. Well, when you have another major bank and player saying investor demand in terms of alternative assets is now crypto over real estate, stocks, and bonds, I mean, that's pretty freaking cool. There's a lot of room for ETFs to grow and a lot of room for us to grow. I would argue a lot of that growth is going to continue to happen in ETFs as Larry Fink himself is doubling down. And here is a video of him confirming that from Bloomberg.
Because we believe we're just halfway there in the ETF revolution, that everything is going to be ETF'd. And we needed to ensure both active products, passive products, digital products are going to be used through the vehicle of ETFs. At the same time, in this architectural change, we're elevating the whole concept that we are going to be curating more and more of our performance-based products too. So it's a very large architectural change. A lot of people have asked me, iShares is the most successful division within BlackRock. Look what it did. Why are you doing this now? And we believe it's so important to be anticipating the next move. I would also say on the beginnings of a ETF Bitcoin, we believe ETFs are a technology no different than Bitcoin was a technology for asset storage. We believe the next step going forward will be the tokenization of financial assets.
And according to Larry Fink in this video, the ETF business side at BlackRock is worth almost $3.5+ trillion, but that's going to continue to grow in the future. And many of those ETFs are going to involve XRP, digital assets, and new cryptos. So that said, I still believe we are going to see some new all-time highs by the end of the year, and I do believe that this is a good time to accumulate, especially if we see some sort of a liquidation event, black swan, whatever, for whatever reason. If the price were to dump down to like 43 cents or even 37 cents, this would be my major back up the truck and buy zone right down here. If, however, we see support here for a double bottom and we start to rally right back up to that 64 cent range and break above there, I think sky's the limit. I think we're easily going to break into the 74-cent range, which is our next major resistance, before moving on to at least $2, if not a new all-time high. However, we are building up a lot of support and strength here, and we've been doing that since July of 2023. So remains to be seen when that happens, but October is usually a very volatile month, an exciting month for markets. It's like when markets come back alive. It happened last year in crypto markets, and it's likely going to happen again. So that said, if you are an XRP holder or plan to hold XRP through the upcoming end of the year into the start of the year, which I think is a very smart move, again, just coming with the disclaimer, right? I'm not in charge of your finances. You make your own decisions. But at the end of the day, I'm pretty bullish, and I think everyone here at the channel is. So if you are going to hold XRP, then head on over to bullrunners.com/cryptoland. You can go and find the link in the description or in the comments below. You make sure it's the pinned comment directly from us, because if you click on any other links, they could be spammers. It's hard to keep, track of who's posting what all the time, and scammers always find a way. So just make sure it's the pinned post, but I recommend the description first. That said, you can discover how to earn more crypto in less than 10 minutes with the #1 play to earn XRP game. So it's a great way to put your XRP to work so you can earn crypto on top of it. And you can watch this short 8-minute video that explains exactly how it works. Heck, I even recommend you watch a few of these videos, and you do it in 3 simple steps. You will get your XRP wallet, you get your game pieces, and then you play the game to earn crypto. The crypto itself is directly convertible for XRP, which is absolutely wonderful and beautiful. So you have nothing to lose and everything to gain. Just check it out. If you don't feel totally comfortable, totally fine, we just recommend that you watch the videos beforehand so you kind of get a full grasp and a feel for how it works. But we're very transparent here. We show you exactly how it works, why it's so exciting, and it's a great way for you to compound that XRP bag of yours before the end of the year bull run that we believe is going to happen. So again, one last time, bullrunners.com/cryptoland. I look forward to seeing you on the other side, my friend. Thanks so much for watching the video, and I'll see you next time.